Hi there! The universe of Final Fantasy is coming as a set this summer, and we are super excited for it. Celes Rune Knight has been recently revealed as the new alternative precon commander for the Final Fantasy new deck Revival Trance, opposed to the main commander Terra Herald of Hope, and we will look at some good cards to add while we prepare ourselves for when the set is released. Celes is a 4/4/4 mana Mardu legendary human wizard knight with the following ability. When Celes enters, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. Whenever one or more other creatures you control enter, if one or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This card seems to be pretty strong and fun commander at first glance, and Mardu are great colors for graveyard and revival shenanigans. She has good potential for a go-wide graveyard deck and also combos a lot with Persist, reminding us a little bit of Marchesa the Black Rose. And also, Thran Vigil, a 2-mana enchantment with, whenever one or more artifacts and or creature cards leave your graveyard during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, which would be a great card to add to the deck. Like we mentioned, Persist has a lot of combo potential with her. This triggered ability means that, when this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. In case of Celes, she goes infinite with Persist creatures like Murderous Redcap, Putrid Goblin, Restless Apparition, and a sack outlet like Goblin Bombardment. This is because if a permanent has both a +1/+1 counter and a -1/-1 counter on it, +1/+1 and -1/-1 counters are removed as a state-based action. This means the +1/+1 counters cancels the -1/-1 counter, allowing you to sack those creatures again and restart the loop. Also with Altar of Dementia, a 2-mana artifact that allows you to sacrifice a creature. Target player mills cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. You are able to mill out your opponents and also allows you to fill your graveyard with some key pieces. With Ashnod's Altar, a 2-mana artifact that allows you to sacrifice a creature and add to colorless mana. Also, Puppeteer Click is great to steal cards from graveyards for a massive swing. Since we are aiming to fill our graveyards, the Delirium mechanic works great with her, with cards like Fear of Missing Out, an enchantment with, when this creature enters, discard a card, then draw a card. And it has Delirium. Whenever this creature attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Or Smile at Death, an enchantment that will be releasing in the upcoming Tarkir set. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. Also great to pulling our creatures out of the graveyard and giving them another boost is Sister Hospitaller, a human cleric with, when this creature enters, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its mana value. Considering a more go-wide strategy, Drana, Liberate of Malakir, a flying first strike vampire ally with, whenever Drana deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. Seems like a great addition to be able to add even more counters on your creatures. Also, Celes is a wizard, so Harmonic Prodigy just goes great here, so that her second ability can trigger an additional time. And speaking about triggering additional times, we also have Roaming Throne. Besides being a wizard, she is also a knight, so she could be fun as a knight commander. Blink her until you dump Hakon Stromgald Scourge to the grave, then start to cast your knights from there to boost all your creatures. Another great knight here, Ayara's Oathsworn, a human knight with, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it has fewer than 4 +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then, if it has exactly 4 +1/+1 counters on it, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Besides all the counters boosts, she can also tutor for a card. Or Sir Conrad the Grim, a human knight with, Whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. We also have Bitter Reunion, an enchantment with: when this enchantment enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Sacrifice this enchantment, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. This works well with our commander's ability, since she will not be always available on the table and provides us with card draw and the ability to put cards in the graveyard. All in all, she seems to be really fun to play, since there is so much support for reanimate, graveyard shenanigans in these colors, so there is so much you can include. Also, if you are more on the combo side and want a more high power approach, she also has that potential. You can even go for a Knight Kindred deck, and it has a lot of support as well. One thing maybe, she could have been a 3-3 instead of a 4-4, so she could work better with the main commander from the precon, Terra. We hope you enjoyed our includes, and we would like to know your ideas and what cards would you add to her build. So, see you soon!